Today we will see the Ho Chi Minh Trail and its significance. Question: what was Ho Chi Minh Trail? What was the significance of Ho Chi Minh Trail during the Vietnam War? During the World War II and the First Indochina War, the Viet Minh needed and developed an effective logistic system. It included the routes which connected the northern and the southern parts of Vietnam. This trail network was deliberately improved and operated to support the aims of North Vietnam. Collectively, this system was known as Ho Chi Minh Trail. In general, the Ho Chi Minh Trail started with the transportation arteries in the North Vietnam, swung west into Laos, moved south parallel to the South Vietnamese border, and at various points crossed back to the east into the South Vietnam. The Laotian part of the system continued further into Cambodia and intersected with a network there which was known as Sihanouk Trail. The routes consisted mostly of small trails for personal movement and roads for vehicles. Personnel generally walked or pushed bikes along narrow footpaths. These personnel were both porters carrying war supplies and soldiers going south to fight. Because of the cover available and the redundancy created, the route was extremely difficult to interdict. The terrain also necessitated a vast amount of bridging to span the various rivers, streams, and valleys. This map shows the Ho Chi Minh Trail. We have the North Vietnam, the South Vietnam, and these are some of the arrows which are coming down, taking off from the North Vietnam, going westwards, coming down south, and then again going into the South Vietnam area. Thus, they are avoiding the demilitarized zone, which couldn't have been crossed due to the heavy presence of the French and again the American troops. In May 1959, the government of North Vietnam approved the launch of the People's War in South to unify the two Vietnams. This was a formal declaration. Among their many considerations were the lines of communication connecting the North and South Vietnam. Earlier in the same month, they ordered the creation of Transportation Group 559. Group 559 had the mission to create a transportation network in Laos and was the operator of Ho Chi Minh Trail. This group and its subordinate organizations employed approximately 1 lakh people at any given time during the war. These personnel included engineers, porters, drivers, mechanics, laborers, ground security units, anti aircraft units, hospitals, and a complete assortment of other administrative and logistical support units. Once the road was established, beginning in 1965, heavy equipment and supplies were also moved by vehicles. Eventually, the engineering effort would make many of the routes all weather, thus evening out the cyclic nature of infiltration. Intertwined with the original roads were also the bypasses and the detours necessitated by the interdiction efforts and physical destruction of the sections of their network. The result in the end was a grid system which allowed rapid lateral movement around bomb damaged areas. Estimates suggest that the trail network covered anywhere between 12,000 to 16,000 kilometers. Now, having seen the trail as such, let us see what was the significance of this Ho Chi Minh Trail. First is the supply lines for the North Vietnamese forces. The trail was primarily logistical route used by the North Vietnamese army to transport troops, weapons, ammunition, supplies from North Vietnam to their forces in South Vietnam. It established the continuous flow of essential resources necessary for sustaining war efforts against the United States and South Vietnamese forces. It facilitated guerrilla warfare. The Ho Chi Minh Trail supported the Vietcong's guerrilla warfare operations in South Vietnam by ensuring a steady supply of arms and reinforcements. The trail allowed the Viet Cong to maintain persistent pressure on the South Vietnamese and US forces, disrupting their operations and stretching their resources. Geographical advantage. The trail traversed through the dense jungles and mountainous regions of Laos and Cambodia, making it difficult for US and South Vietnamese forces to detect and effectively target. This challenging terrain providing natural cover and concealment, enhancing the trail's security and making it a resilient supply network. The existence and effective use of Ho Chi Minh Trail demonstrated the determination and resilience of North Vietnamese, boosting their morale and while undermining the confidence of the US and South Vietnamese forces. It highlighted the North Vietnamese capability to sustain a prolonged conflict despite intense aerial bombardment and ground offensives. Strategic diversification. The trail's extensive network with multiple branches and routes allowed for flexibility in operation. If one part of the trail was discovered and bombed, supplies could be rerouted through the alternative paths, ensuring continuous support to the southern front. This diversification complicated US efforts to completely sever the supply line. Adaptation and innovation. The North Vietnamese continuously adapted and improved the trail, incorporating innovations such as underground tunnels, camouflage techniques, and anti aircraft defenses. This adaptability ensured that the trail remained operational despite heavy US efforts to destroy it. Contribution to the North Vietnamese victory. Ultimately, the Ho Chi Minh Trail was instrumental in the North Vietnamese ability to wage a protracted war, culminating in the successful Tet Offensive and eventually the fall of Saigon. The sustained logistical support provided by the trail was crucial in tipping the balance in favor of North Vietnam. Rear areas. The areas along Ho Chi Minh Trail also provided space for functions as command and control, maintenance, storage, training, rest and recoup, sanctuary, supply procurement, growth of food, and all other supports functions normally associated with the rear areas in the wartime. Northward movement. The Ho Chi Minh Trail also served as a route from south to north. At times, there was a need to move personnel who were so severely wounded that they could no longer serve in the south. To conclude, we can say the Ho Chi Minh Trail was a vital strategic asset for the North Vietnam, playing a key role in the sustaining their war effort and contributing significantly to their ultimate victory in Vietnam War. Thank you.